The state of Indiana slapped with a lawsuit after a new ruling putting restrictions on charities that bail people out of jail. The state says it's all about accountability. Opponents, though, of the new law say it leaves poor people stuck behind bars. Innocent until proven guilty. The presumption of innocence afforded every U.S. citizen and one of the reasons for the bail system. But a new Indiana law is threatening the ability of charitable organizations to bail presumed innocent people out of jail while awaiting their day in court. House Enrolled Act 1300, the new law signed by Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb, goes into effect July 1st. Under the new law, organizations paying bail on behalf of defendants must register with the state of Indiana. The accused cannot be charged with a violent crime, nor can they have a previous conviction for a violent crime. The new law also restricts the number of people a charity can bail out to 3 in a 180-day period without a license. Proponents of the law cite the need for greater accountability for nonprofit charitable organizations, programs like the Bail Project, an organization that has assisted more than 22,000 people nationwide, including more than 1,000 low-income Hoosiers, an organization directly impacted by the new law.
It's going to significantly curtail our ability to be able to help people who, again, are accused of a crime, presumed innocent under the law, and a judge has decided that they are able to leave the jail before a trial if they pay the money.
The Bail Project and the American Civil Liberties Union of Indiana now embroiled in a lawsuit against the state of Indiana, looking to block HEA 1300, saying it violates the organization's First Amendment rights.
As it is a law that entrenches a double standard in Indiana. It allows for relatives, friends, strangers, anyone really, to be able to go to the jail and post bail for somebody. And this law targets only the ability of the charitable bail organization to be able to do the exact same thing that anyone else would be able to do.
But Indiana's Attorney General disagrees, telling our NewsNation team in Indianapolis this week,
"Your rights are as good as your ability to practice them without impeding upon others' rights and others' safety. And at the end of the day, the Bail Project threatens all of that."
Indiana Representative Peggy Mayfield authored HEA 1300. We reached out to her for comment. She declined pending the lawsuit. However, in a released statement, she said, quote, "Hoosiers who don't present a safety risk to the public and haven't been convicted of a crime yet can't afford bail to get out of jail before their court appearance should be able to get assistance from charitable bail organizations. But we must ensure all bail providers work under the same rules and enforcement in this highly regulated industry." Recently, the Bail Project came under scrutiny when our NewsNation station discovered that since 2018, 3 people bailed out by the group were later accused of violent crimes while out on bail.
Those 3 people were all determined to be able to be released by a judge who made that decision, who then said that they had to post a certain dollar amount. We posted that dollar amount by them. The other thing that I would point out is while these cases are extremely tragic, and we certainly understand that, 3 cases, we have bailed out nearly 1,000 people in Indiana. So while these are really tragic cases, they're extremely rare.
At the end of the process, very few of the clients end up doing additional jail time, 15%. So even if they're found guilty, these are people who, without the Bail Project, would have been in jail for months and months and months.
All right, so the Bail Project operates in more than 24 cities all across the U.S., and according to them, more than 400,000 people sleeping in jail cells on any given night have not been convicted of a crime. Most are there because they cannot afford bail. Meantime, they have filed a preliminary injunction in the state of Indiana. There's no word yet on when their case will be heard. So joining me now is Courtney Crown, the reporter who broke this story at our Indianapolis station. Courtney, amazing reporting. You really did a great job with this. Now we heard, yeah, you really did. You know, we heard from the Attorney General there, the Indiana Attorney General, who says this is not a violation of the Bail Project's First Amendment rights.
Right. So he said that our rights only go as far as imposing on other people's rights. So he didn't have a lot to say on the day that this lawsuit was filed in court, asked us to follow up again soon once he looked into it further. But he's saying this is not a violation of their First Amendment rights.
All right. So, we heard from the Bail Project there, the attorney there, who says that it's the judge who is setting that bail. They just pay it. And if those restrictions are indeed placed on them come July 1st, that indigent people will likely now be stuck behind bars.
Right. And I think what is at the heart of all of this, too, is a really complex issue, Nichole. And your story just got at that. But, what I do want to say is one of the most egregious cases that we talked about, the Bail Project did tell me that the entire reason why they paid this man's bond, his name is Marcus Garvin, that's Travis Lang, who you're seeing right now, that's Marcus Garvin. So in his case, the judges significantly lowered his bond to make it to the point where it was a cash bond. And because of that lowering, that's what the Bail Project said, that was their ultimate deciding factor in paying for his bond to bond him out of jail before he allegedly went on to kill his ex-girlfriend.
All right. So then, of course, went on to allegedly commit a violent act there. Do you think that cases like these three cases, was this the decision really behind this law where, the Bail Project bailed out these suspects who later went on to allegedly commit violent crimes? Is that why this law ultimately passed?
Well, I know that the lawmakers definitely pointed to those three cases. What I will say is what is asked over and over again is how many cases is the threshold to say we're not going to make any changes when it comes to bail? And I will say when I interviewed the national operations manager with the Bail Project, he was kind of held back on saying if anything would change as far as how they operate and what they look into before making the decisions.
And really, Courtney, last question for you here. Are the rules different, for the Bail Project if this law, in fact, does go into effect July 1st, and everyone else, including for-profit bond companies, family members, friends, they can all bail someone out, violent or not. But now the Bail Project will not be able to do its work.
Right. So it will have to have a license just like the bail bonds agencies. And again, Nichole, I just want to say, too, I think at the core of this, a lot of people had said, well, you're looking at the Bail Project, but you're not looking at the bonds agencies. And I want to go back to saying, Indianapolis gave taxpayer dollars to seed the way for the Bail Project to come in. So that really, along with those egregious cases that we talked about, that is why Fox 59 started looking into the Bail Project. So this isn't by any means not looking at the bonds agencies. They certainly have their own statistics, but we really focused in because there was taxpayer dollars focused in on the Bail Project.
You're right, yeah. According to the Bail Project, $14 billion a year on pretrial incarcerations. Courtney Crown, again, amazing reporting from you. I know we kind of scratched the surface. We had to make this broader, but you have really been digging into this, doing great work there in Indianapolis. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Nichole.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.